And good evening. Welcome everyone to another segment of Let's Get Real. I'm Sonia Woodard, joined here with Corinne, and I'm also joined with Coach Stephen King and Mike and Pam Lindo, and our wonderful uh, guest panelist, Pam Cerise, who's also taking care of all the StreamYard background stuff for us. So, welcome. Today, we will ask Mike if he would lead us in a word of prayer to get things started.
Whatever is shared amongst us and others who are listening, that be a blessing to them, a blessing to those who may be seeing us live our lives through you. That we can be a witness for them. It's my prayer in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. Amen. Well, as we start today, our program is on decorum. And I want to get right into decorum. I want to start by first, let's talk about the actual definition of decorum. And so the definition for decorum is what? Oh, okay, sorry. Definition is behavior in keeping with good taste and propriety. And let's kind of break that down. So propriety gets more into etiquette, the way we go about doing things. And in saying that, the Bible talks about, you know, or should I, in Philippians 4, and 8, it says, rejoice in the Lord always. And again, I say rejoice. Let your moderation be known unto all men. The Lord is at hand. Be careful for nothing, but in everything by prayer and supplication with thanksgiving. Let your requests be made known unto God. So, in saying that, I'm going to start with the first question. What does the Bible say about moderation? Other than what I think, what do you think that we should do in moderation? And I'm going to start out with Michael. So, Michael, what do you think moderation from the Bible, from what I just read, what do you think it means?
I'm thinking moderation means not too much, not too little. Don't rush things along. Let it happen as it comes. I guess in a as a pace, at a particular pace. Don't rush it along. Let things happen in the Bible, in the biblical form. Let the Lord lead out and let it happen in Lord's time, in Lord's way. Don't try to go ahead. Don't try to fall behind. Just keep a nice pace and let the Lord lead that way.
Okay, so Pam, give us your take on moderation, or oh, I'm sorry. I have to go which one? I forgot. I got two Pams on here, but I'm going to go to Pam Cerise. And welcome.
Thank you. Thank you. So moderation, it would be with, I don't want to say with taste, but with discipline. In everything that we do, we should take into consideration moderation of what we do, how we do, when we do, where we do, and so on. Everything in good taste, um, as in the sight of God. Um, with temperance is the word that I was looking for. With temperance is the word that I would be looking for, as far as I think moderation can be looked at.
All right, so Steve, give us your take on it.
Well, when I look at moderation, few things pop in my mind. Halfway, um, I would say, you tell a friend, you live in West Palm, I live in Delray. Well, meet me in Lake Worth, and I'll drop it off to you. And the other person say, yeah, that sounds good, so you don't have to come all the way here. So I think about fairness. What's right for you may not be right for me. So when we're looking at moderation, I'm looking at somewhere in the middle. If I'm a rich man, my middle will be different from If I'm a poor man or indigent person, my middle may be somewhere different from yours. So I look at moderation as being somewhere in the middle, in the meeting area. Somewhere, meet me in the middle, somewhere in the middle.
Okay, I appreciate that and the moderation. So I'm going to go to Toya. So Toya, and then I'm going to Pamela, the other Pamela, Lindo. So Toya, hearing those definitions of moderation, of decorum, is this a how do we bring this to come about with dress?
Okay, like Steve said, everybody have different levels of moderation. I might think something is moderate, and there's others that might not think something is moderate. I believe moderation, just like they say, beauty is in the eye of the beholder, moderation is in the eye of the beholder. Because if you look in the mirror and you feel like what you have on is not an issue, then that's your level of moderation. Now, my level of moderation and your level of moderation might not be the same. I might not have a problem with wearing spaghetti strap shirts, but you might, because that's your level of moderation. I can't project my level of moderation onto you if you are comfortable with wearing, or yeah, if you're comfortable with wearing spaghetti straps or you're not. So when it comes to dress, it's your level of moderation. But you also have to take into consideration that when you do dress a certain type of way, there is attention brought to you. You are advertising or you are being suggestive in the clothes that you wear.
Okay, so in the clothes that we wear, you're saying so Pamela, Lindo. So can you pick up from there and tell me, is this can this be because of maybe where you come from? Maybe your because Toya said it's depending on what you feel is moderate. So say we're coming to church, okay? Are you going to be comfortable in wearing something that may be kind of short? How short is short and how short is not short?
Good evening, everyone. Um, I'm already a short person, so things for me is going to be normally long, but short is short. Women who buy dresses and that you're constantly tugging at it at the bottom, that's irritating because that it was short when you bought it. So why buy something or why wear something that you're constantly going to be tugging? If I have to tug at it, then it's not something for me to wear to church. Then that means that's my club attire, or I'm going out with my husband, kind of a date night kind of thing, because I feel to be sexy. That's not something that you wear to church. But as Toya said, every moderation, everybody dress thinking it's okay. Um, but then again, as us as Black women, we are also blessed in certain areas of our bodies that we have a little bit more of than the rest of them. So yes, we have to think about what we dress and how we form our bodies into certain clothes. So, with that said, it is what it is. But if you gotta wear it, then own it. Because if I'm wearing it, I'm owning it.
Say it, Steve. Say it. Say it.
Because sometimes
Only
we wear things to bring attention to certain areas of our body, or we wear no, what you could, yeah, we do. We put on things where if we're feeling a little spicy, you might
Mhm.
wear something a little spicy. If you feeling a certain type of way, like when I get my hair done, I wear things to accentuate my hair because I know I want to bring attention to my hair. that, so there's certain things
Yes.
that you do to bring attention to certain parts of your body. And it's not where it's, and that's my moderation. I know in moderation what I should wear and should not wear according to my own standards of what is going to bring attention to my hair. I'm just throw that out there.
Yeah, she keeps
But
such a
Okay, well, wait a minute. Because I'm sitting here and I'm saying to myself, I'm going to be honest. I've never thought about bringing attention to my hair. That's just me.
I do it too, Toya.
There are a
thank
lot of
you.
women that does that. There are a lot of women that do things.
Say
If
what?
if we buy the weave, that's our hair. We're gonna flaunt it because it's bought. It's ours.
Can I
I'm going to own it.
can I hear from the younger generation? Go ahead, Corey.
Uh, uh,
Coach,
I was trying to sneak in right quick,
Yeah.
Nick
cause
in.
cause cause Mike called my name and Latoya used my name. Only Latoya can find a trap door. Only Latoya. When I said that, I didn't know I had to set some guidelines. Homegirl started out with spaghetti straps. I said, oh, I'm in trouble. My name out there, and I done signed off on it. There, to moderation, there is a standard. And when I said in the middle of the road, Latoya, there was some kind of cutoff point. I didn't mean to leave it that wide open. I wanted it to be open. But we got something that's called, like she said, common sense. And you gotta keep tugging at it before you left home. You're gonna have to really tug at it when you get in church because you gotta sit down. So that's all I want to say, Sonia. Only Latoya could find those trap doors, and she found it, boy.
Well,
She must be Republican. You in Trump?
we're not getting into the political realm, but anyway. Well, here's the thing. So, geesh.
I want to hear from Korean.
Oh,
I agree with you because when I get my hair done, oh, especially when you get that new style and you feel yourself. Oh yes, very much so. I do wear stuff to get attention as far as hair. Hair, I do. You pointed that out. I didn't realize I did that, but yeah, you definitely pointed that out.
and see, for me, when it's not often that I change styles necessarily, but when I do my braids, for me, it's for comfort. It's I don't feel like doing hair. I'm gonna put this up on the top of my head and I'm done. And for me, it's not draw. It's not. I never even thought about that, to be honest, ladies. Everyone, ladies and gentlemen. That has me sitting here really pondering. Everybody has a different take on life, and I want to know, Pam Cerise, if this is cultural as far as how you're brought up, where you come from, or is this something that you think maybe that person's born with?
Mhm. So I like that you brought in the idea of culture and how we were raised. So most of you know I grew up in the Caribbean, and we had I would say a standard set. Um, what you wore in the house, you didn't wear it when you went into town. You definitely did not wear it when you went to church. So most of the Caribbean, we have school uniform. When you, Toy, you got home from school, you took your school uniform off and you put it up. You hung it up and you changed over into your regular, what we would say, our house clothes, our house dress, or what have you. Now, when it came to church, you definitely, you did not even wear what you would wear to church. You would not wear that same dress, not even to go to a function. That is how. So, culture has a lot to do with it. But there comes a point in time when you have to look at where you are. and what precedents you are setting for the space that you are in. Right. If I am going out on a date night, of course I am going to look cute and pretty for my hubby. It's a date night. It's what couples do, or people in a relationship do to be part of the relationship. So when I'm going to work, there are certain things that I do not wear to work. I have to bear in mind that I'm working with other professionals, and in my profession, I work with kids. At this stage, I'm working with teenagers. And me, the person that I am, Sister Pam Lindo, she was saying she's already short. I get some people would mix me up with the kids that are in school. Some of the eighth graders, they look, Toya, you look younger than they do, right? So I have to be mindful of the space that I am in, the people that are surrounding me. Now, when I go into church, I bear in mind, not most of all, I think first and foremost, I'm going into the presence of God. That the sanctuary is a sacred space, is supposed to be a sacred space. So I would be mindful of what I wear. Like Sister Pam and Coach was saying, if I'm tugging at it from, let's say, from when I sit in the car and I'm sitting in the car in the privacy of my car and I find I have to pull my dress down, I'm going to second guess that I want to wear that dress to go into church. I might not be like we were talking about when you wear your hair and your hair is just done and you want people to notice that you have a new wig, a new weave, a new do. You are going to, like Corinne was doing, this number, do this number, I don't know, get somebody to look at it, right? So um you're, and Toy is absolutely right. Some of us, we are built that there are certain parts of us that are amazingly made, and sometimes we do not intentionally, Coach.
No, I believe that
Mhm,
when you put on something,
mhm,
a lot of times you
mhm,
try something on
mhm,
and you will look in that mirror and you will see
mhm,
exact because you I like people that dress for body shape. Now, my body shape,
mhm,
I know I'm not going to go put on some tights with a halter top. I can't do it. Now, when I do certain things, that's drawing attention. If I put on tights with a halter top, that means I'm trying to draw attention to certain parts of my body.
okay,
You know,
okay,
I'm not going to the gym.
mhm,
You
right,
know, so I know exactly what I'm doing when I put on things. I know
mhm,
what parts it insinuate. I know if
mhm,
I want something that's going to hug this stomach, I'm going to put on my little girdle and I'm going to put on my little dress, and I know what I'm going to
mhm,
do. So
mhm,
I dress
mhm.
knowing which parts of my body I want to insinuate and which
Yeah,
parts of my body I'm bringing attention to. When
right.
certain times you push up and suck in and tuck, that's because I know what I'm trying to accent. I know which areas of my body I need to accent.
Yeah. So there is another part to that. There's the part of when we dress as people, we want to do something and we do it sometimes without even thinking about it. We want to feel good. You look, if you feel good, if you think you look good, you're going to behave accordingly. And it is like a self-esteem boost for you. So
Wait a
yeah.
minute, Pam. Wait a minute. So
What?
I could feel that way. I'm just using me.
Hmm.
I can go and get these shoes, and these shoes have this cloud-like feel when I put these shoes on. And when I tell you, when I put those shoes on, it makes my feet feel so good. And it has nothing to do with what necessarily I have on. It
Hmm.
has to do with, whoo, because these
Comfort.
feel good. I'm gonna just say this. I'm
Hmm.
gonna throw their name out here. She might beat me up later, but anyway, Michelle Bethel and I,
Hmm.
we always talk about we feel good when our feet feel good because I had a bone spur in my foot. And I kept going, oh my goodness, what is going on? Because I didn't know what that was. And I went to the doctor and he said, oh, And he said, you need to kind of watch what shoes you wear. So I don't wear those really flat shoes on the ground. I can't wear those anymore. But when I got these certain shoes that my daughter kind of, she's like, they're all right. I'm not worried about whether she likes them or not. Those shoes make me feel like, woo, $100 million.
See, and that's where we're totally different because see me, I love heels. I like how they look. I like what they do to an outfit. I do. But see, I'm the type I wear heels for show, and then when I sit down, I switch.
But you want to bring attention to the heels. Your whole thing. It's all about, even when you go to church, sometimes we dress for attention. You can't sit up here and say every outfit that you choose is within the standards of, I'm gonna wear the long dresses, the long turtlenecks, and the long. You're not dressing like that.
Excuse me.
Jump in, Pam.
Listen, I wear my heels, and I got my thigh high heels, sexy heel, and I'm in my 50s. So say what you want to say. I'm going to wear them to church, and I'm going to own it. There's nothing wrong with wearing what you wear. Now, grant you, that is a church situation, because I went to my son's school the other day, and his teacher had on a thigh-high boots. And I was sitting there going, not the teacher wearing the sexy shoes in the school, because I mean, it's high school. And I'm sitting there going, these boys ain't paying attention to anything she's saying. When I tell you it was one of those thigh high things, and I'm what I call sexy, even in it's at thigh high, I mean it was thigh high, and I was sitting there going, ain't none of my teachers wore that in my days.
It wasn't thigh high, it was barely over the knee. But I had an issue about it because, like,
yes, Mike.
It wasn't that attractive on the person. Let me put it that way. And it just didn't fit her style.
But that's why she wore the boots. That's why she wore the boots, because she knew it had to draw attention away from her face, so she had to accentuate other parts of her body.
Thank you for saying it, sis. I just want you to say,
but that's
good.
True.
I'm a female, not a male.
Some people
because this is like,
they knew. She knew she knew her face was not attractive, but she has a body that can, attract. So, she was trying to, goodbye.
Goodness. Wait a minute. Coach King, I know you got something to say about this.
I'm listening to this, and I'm being fair. I'm listening to the female perception or aspect of this conversation. I think men are a little bit more tapered. We buy stuff, yes, that we like. We usually buy stuff that we like, that it looks good to the eye. So we already feel it's going to look good on us. I dress more. The women are a little bit more eccentric with this. You guys are saying I dress to draw attention. Maybe we male or we alpha dogs. We think that we already look good. So what we're putting on, we like it because it's either a little popular or it looks good from the window in the store, or when you put it on, it looks good. We don't care too much about shoes being comfortable. As we get older, we do. But we just want something that's probably hot, and we put it on, we already think that it looks good. So we're out there. Now, we figure the attention is already there. That's why you get these boo-boos out there thinking that they can talk to certain girls, and they shouldn't, because they're a boo-boo. I don't know if y'all know that. So it gives them probably confidence that they shouldn't have. But to LaToya, I have to say you were really honest when you gave an opinion about why you dressed up, because you're looking for attention. I heard Corinne say that. But see, I can take that from LaToya, but I can't take it from Corinne yet, because I still think that she's 15. So Sorry, Corinne, but I got your point, Corinne. But I'm listening to the women perspective,
Let me.
and you guys are really locked into that. I'm surprised I'm hearing it that much, because if we go some Bible and some, well, this the real
Yeah.
world,
Yeah.
we got to look
It's
at vanity.
it's only
What
some. It's only
when do we
some
cross
women
over
that do
to
that though, coach.
when
It's
do we
only
cross over to
some
Venus?
women. It's only some women. I want to
No,
say
no, no. I'm asking.
it's only
I'm saying.
some women though that
Yeah, but
dress
I'm
for
listening
that kind
very
of
closely,
attention. Yeah.
Pam.
Yeah.
I'm also hearing it from you that
The,
you chose your stuff based on
based
how you
on
look.
the space that I am entering
I
in.
heard when you said that, but you know what common thread y'all had? All the women said they did it to look good, almost to draw attention. I
I
kind of
did
heard
not
that.
say that.
No, no,
That's
no,
not
no.
the
Listen, I know I was gonna get in trouble when I said that. I said the man is sitting here listening to the women, and that's the common thread I'm hearing that everybody is saying. Sonya, you know, you were a little exception. You just said you don't care as long as it feels good.
Okay.
But you did say about the hair that I didn't know I did until Latoya said it. So
I said, no,
she's
let me
being
correct
brutally
that.
honest.
I said that.
She
I
said
said
that. I didn't say
Oh,
that.
okay,
I said I
okay,
have never thought about that. Was something totally new to me. I had never
yes,
even thought about that.
yes, you said that, but you said you had never thought. I thought you said now I look at it at a little another from another angle now when
I said
Latoya brought
now
that up.
they're making me think
Think
about it,
about it. Yeah.
to
Gotcha,
look at how they do, because for me that's not important. As long as I comb my hair and I look decent, that has always been my thing. I
gotcha.
always thought women should keep their hair looking nice.
But why
Me
though?
looking nice does not mean that it draws any.
but
I don't think it draws anything to
but
me.
why do you feel the need to have to look nice? Because here's my thing. Your perception of nice might
Whoa,
not be my perception of nice.
no,
So
I'm saying growing up. That's why I talked about that. When I was growing up, my mom always said a woman should always have her hair done, and you know, you get up in the morning, you get dressed up. I know people, women who, if they're not going out today, they don't get up and get dressed, they don't take a shower, they don't put on, they stay in their night clothes all day. I'm not one of those people. When I get up, even if I just put on shorts, I'm going to get up and do all of the grooming I have to do, and then I'm going to put on some clothes. Even if I'm not going out, I'll at least have on shorts. But that's how I was raised. That's why I talked about, is this cultural? Is this what? Because all of us have a different. Pam says she came out of the Caribbean. You have your walk. I know that Pam came, her family has a Panamanian background. So we all have different spots. But how women and men look at decorum is totally different. And when I go to church, I make sure that I have all everything, because for me, I go back to what the Bible said. I need to be modest in all things. But my modesty may not be your modesty. And so I was trying to find out where, Toy, I can't hear you.
no,
I
I
don't
was
know where
agreeing.
that balance is.
Your modesty is not my modesty. And my thing is, you might feel modesty is at your toes. I might feel, okay, I should not have to wear an LNG white dress to my ankle. I should be able to wear a Rosa Parks dress to my knees. You know, so it just it's different levels of modesty. I grew up where we didn't wear pants in the church. Didn't wear pants. I went away to school and we were actually able to wear pants in the church. And I was like, I can see where it was cold. I
Yeah.
understood that wearing the pants, wearing the boots, because it's cold. You're comfortable. You have on a nice blouse and pants. You're still presentable. But grew up where when you walk in that church, you're gonna either put a skirt over your shorts, or you're not gonna go in. Yeah, you're not gonna wear shorts or pants inside the church. So, but like I said, growing up and going away, and I was like, I can see where there's different lines of modesty where I didn't see anything wrong after going away and in the
Well,
atmosphere.
Toya, wait a minute. When you talked about those shorts, let me ask this question. Does it come down to a point of respect when you enter the sanctuary?
Yes, but my thing is, what makes shorts disrespectful? If you're going in to the sanctuary, and let's say you're going for a practice or you're going for rehearsal, what makes it disrespectful to wear shorts to practice or rehearsal?
Well, for
I
me,
shouldn't see your booty. Let's
No,
just
not.
put
I'm
it
not
like
saying
that.
wear
When
wear
you're
booty
going to
booty
church,
shorts.
if you're no, if you're going to church and you're wearing a pair of shorts, which I think it's cool because y'all in a hot climate, so shorts should be acceptable. But if I have to see your booty, I don't want to see it.
You talking about dress shorts?
No,
yeah, but what that's my what you're saying, Mike. For me, Pam, I would say it's not necessarily the shorts because we want to give God our best when we come before him, even if it's rehearsal, correct? So if we're coming in shorts, what kind of shorts are we coming in?
not the booty
Are we
shorts.
coming in tight shorts? Because I don't care how long the shorts are. If they're too tight, guess what? You already have lost that decorum.
I'm gonna speak from
Okay,
my household.
we have issues.
Because I'm not even gonna say myself. I'm gonna use yourself for example. Growing up, I have always had a love-hate relationship when it came to dresses and skirts. Never been my favorite choice, first pick in clothing. Never. So when it came time for AY, I never wanted to wear that. But I knew she wasn't gonna let me wear anything else.
Sure wasn't.
Whereas my brother, he always wanted to wear shorts back to AY. And she always said, no, you can't wear
Nope.
that. And
Nope.
forever, still to this day, that has been a big
Because for
controversy.
me, and Kobe knows, if you're coming to AY, I expect you to have on long pants. That is my perception of decorum because I'm going to always give God my best. I'm not coming in there with those gym shorts on. You're coming to praise God. You're coming to live, and that like I said, it's my perception. And Kobe would say, "Well, such and such and such, Mama, let's him." That's I'm not. You're not their
But
child.
that's different. You're coming for a program. You're coming for a reason. But if we're at the church having pathfinders, I don't think that I should have to wear a skirt to pathfinders. I
Yeah,
don't
you
think that
know.
I should have to wear a
That's
skirt to
different.
choir
But we're
rehearsal.
coming to programs, right?
But you know
Yeah,
what?
when you're coming to programs, you're gonna be decent. Now you ain't gonna just be wearing all willy nilly stuff.
Can I
But
say something? Because I have been to a program where the presenter of the program was wearing slippers for AY. Now, what decorum was she telling the children? Because if we are all coming and you're saying, you want to come in and dress accordingly, but the presenter has slippers on, how does that? Because I was thrown off by the time I looked at her foot and I realized that she had slippers on. She lost me the whole time through. I had no more respect because I'm sitting there going, how can you tell children to wear something and you're wearing slippers?
Okay, Michael, you've been mighty quiet back there.
I'm trying to make my point, but y'all gonna take over.
he done called a lady
We
ugly.
can't
So
hear you.
he called a lady ugly.
So
I was making my point, but y'all want to go ahead, so I let y'all go ahead. But my thing, going back to answering the question, making a statement towards the question.
Well, I want to hear about the slippers too. Don't try it.
Well, I don't know about that because I wasn't there, so I couldn't experience that, so I can't tell about that. But my thing is, if we know back even from biblical times, the Levites, they had to wear a particular attire. When they were keepers of the temple, they had to wear particular things. And when they gathered the children of Israel to come to service, I'm sure they could not just wear the everyday garb. They had to come a particular way for them to meet in the temple doing service. So I don't know what's the difference. Like you said, that's your best. And I'm sure the Lord expects you to wear a particular clothing for particular service in a particular way. So, I'm sure the same thing applies today because the Lord says, I change is not. So I think we just went a little bit far left in our time today, in that realm. Second real point, I saw a service today at one of our Adventist churches in another state. I'm not gonna call the state, I'm gonna call it the church. But the person had on one person had on a suit, had on sneakers. And this was on the praise team. Another person on the praise team had on a long dress and had on sneakers. She had on sneakers. Then the person come afterwards and that the male had on two earrings, two studs. And I'm like, and then had on a ring on his right ring finger. I'm like, this what we coming to? I'm like, we've gone so far right left. We come to set the center. I was like, we just lost our way. Just wear what we want to wear, about wearing what we know what the will please the Lord. That's what I'm saying.
I
But
said the men can wear rings better, the earrings quicker than us women. Men, you're not seeing it as much, but you are seeing it. It's studs, so it's not as we women, we wear hoops and jewelry going down. So for men, you don't see it. But they had them on.
Metrosexual. But go ahead, Steve.
but my thing is that's just like, okay, you're saying that the slippers things. So what happens if you have a presenter up there in 12-inch heels with spikes on them presenting? So what
At least she had shoes on, but you cannot tell me you're okay in God's house with slippers. Really?
I don't think I'd be okay in God's house with 12-inch heels with spikes on them.
Well, I don't know because I wear heels and my heels are high. So I guess for me, I won't see
But
any
they ain't got no
problem with
spikes
wearing
on them, Miss
it.
Pam. They ain't got. Let me put
And
myself on.
yeah, I would say get away from that because they do. Stephen, you've been wanting to say something. Jump in.
Well, I try to get everybody a chance to say what they have to say. Um, when do we begin to let our guard down? Explanation. As we water things down, do that begin to loosen the standard of what you should be doing from a biblical standpoint, as well as from, I would say, the civil, what you're doing, going to school or whatever. My basketball team in high school, if we have a home game, you had to wear a shirt and tie that day to school so people can know that you're on the basketball team. You're being watched that day because you should be conducting yourself the way, as a coach, I expect for you to conduct yourself. If we had an away game, we had an attire for when you went away. So if I'm requiring that of my young men to teach them what? I teach them to put on a tie. So if you go to an interview, they already know how to tie a tie and they know how to dress, or if they come to church. So if I'm doing that out in the community, in the public, then what is expected of me when I come to church? I cannot go before a king, a president. I always say Obama because that's still one of my favorite presidents. But if I was going before the president right now, do you think I'll walk up into the White House at dinner with flip-flops on, or to a program with flip-flops or tennis shoes? Because they're going to tell you, first thing the White House going to tell you what you're going to wear to that event. The queen, if you go before the queen, they're going to tell you, it's the king now, but what you're going to
Queen, I'm
wear
about to
to
say
that
the queen
event.
gone.
So when we get to church, are we putting church, the king of all kings, on the back burner? When we don't have to wear slippers, it's not like all I own is a pair of slippers. Because if you was going to the White House and if you only own a pair of slippers, they say you cannot wear slippers in here. Somebody who knew you was going to the White House will buy you a pair of shoes so that you can go to that event.
Or you will
Come
go
on
to the
now, Mike.
thrift
They're making
store
me
and
preach
get it.
now.
Yes, I'm with you. I am
So
definitely
I
with
want to
you.
put that out there, and I want to hear what answers we come back with on, are we lowering our standards for the King of all kings? Because what's wrong with it? What's wrong with wearing this? If the Bible has already told us, be modest, we got common sense. Like Sonia said, her children are going out a certain way because that's what she believed modesty is, and what pleases the Lord. We forgetting we are Christians also. So are we lowering our standards for church and not for the outside events that has nothing to do with the true God, the King of all kings?
Yeah, I agree with you there, Steve, because it is, we are supposed to be living examples. I am going to say, if whenever you have a chance, read the book of Titus chapter 2. The book of Titus chapter 2. And like Steve was saying, I understand and I agree. We are going in a space, the sanctuary has been blessed. And it is a place where people are coming to be healed and to meet their Savior. So for me, it's not that I have to wear the dress attire from the 1800s and the early 1900s, but I'm gonna make sure that I am dressed in what makes me feel comfortable, and I am going to remember in whose presence that I am entering and I'm going into the sanctuary. And Corinne, it's not just your mom. I did the same thing with my, I don't care what Sonia tell her children to wear. You are not Sonia's child. You're my child. And this is what I'm asking you, telling you. That's why I bought it. So yeah, it comes down to, and like Steve was saying, it comes to a point where what standard are you setting? And I think for us in our church, and then I'm going to be done. In our church, I feel like we are so hungry to feed into what we think will attract our younger folk that we are willing to I would say jeopardize, because we're sending mixed messages. We're sending, like you said, the young guy on the praise team with the earrings, he's probably not of the church, but they need a group that sounds good and sings well. So they sometimes that is what happens. And along the way, Steve, you're absolutely right. Where do we say, okay, we are supposed to be living by example. We want to be examples. Let us set the standard. Let us go to the biblical, what God says, not what any of the earlier writers say. Thank you, Steve, for bringing that up.
Well, I'm gonna play the devil's advocate here because I believe that everything should be done in modesty, of course, because I feel like it's so much. I feel like in today's society, we're so focused on who has earrings up on the pulpit and who has this, and they could come with the biggest hoops that they could and put it in their ear, but they decided to go with their studs. For me, to them that might be their modest. And I feel like we have to look at it the same way as Sister So and So up in the front with her big old hat on. That wasn't modest when you woke up this morning. When you put that hat on, you wanted attention. You cannot tell me, oh, this was my best. No, you put that hat on because it was the biggest, and you knew somebody was gonna say something about your hat. So we have to not put certain things up here like, oh, let's not do this because that's not modest, and leave this out because it's not jewelry.
Because it's not pointed out. So that's the thing. Jewelry has always been something that has either been a left and right thing. Either you wear the jewelry, you're not supposed to adorn yourself. But when you put that hat on, I'm with Corinne. Come on, Corinne, tell it. When you put that hat on and you go out and that's your jewelry. That can be your jewelry. You might not put on the silver studs or the earrings or whatever, but when you put on that hat, that is your jewelry. And my thing is, we have to stop saying that it's just jewelry, it's just bangles, it's just earrings, it's just rings, it's just this, it's just that. Moderation in everything. Like Corinne said, I keep
Well, that's the Bible.
And understandable, yes, that's the Bible. But I'm pretty sure that when it comes down to it he mentioned jewelry and adorning the body. Adorning. It was, I believe that, I'm still a struggling Christian, and I read, I'm still trying to find out which scriptures attached to which things, but adornment.
Even the brooches
is adornment of the body.
Correct. Anything that is too much, you're adorning. But here's my thing, and then we have to be really cautious about walking this fine line. When the GC, General Conference for SDAs, when they made it not an issue to wear jewelry, We can't keep harping on that. If that person doesn't feel like, because that's something that my husband and I, we used to go back and forth about the jewelry issue, because at the end of the day, my decorum, as of what I feel, it's with, if it's something that you are starting to worship, anything that becomes an idol, you should put it away, because that is what I think, that is where you need to draw the line. Now, a lot of people feel as if that is not an issue. The church has made that not an issue. That's not a problem anymore. So we can't really say, oh, if you're up there, you have on studs, it's a problem. That might not be a stumbling block to them. We have to be really careful about things, because you could be a gossiper, and if you're sitting there, you're talking about the people and bringing folks down, you should be careful, because to me, that brings in decorum as well, because we have to have decorum within the church as well as out of the church, because you don't ever know who is watching you. And these last, and this last thing, I want to touch on that. So we talked about dress. We kind of brought the jewelry thing in, but like I said, it is kind of like a non-issue anymore in our church, as far as that goes, because the GC allows it. It doesn't mean I
But
allow it.
but my thing is,
It
just
means
because GC allows it,
correct.
that still doesn't take away from what
It's
was
not gonna
taught.
take away from me.
And my thing is,
How
I have
come
my
I'm
ears
muted?
pierced. I have my ears pierced. I wear jewelry. But you know the age I was when I got my ears pierced, I was in my 20s, because I knew when I was younger that was something
Hello?
raised that
Yes, we hear you.
you hear
Oh,
you, Steve.
no, I was muted. So I was,
So
So
I'm not trying to get off into that, Toya. That has to be a choice that you make. Because for me, just because the GC said it doesn't mean that it's law.
but
Because at
that's my
the end of
point.
the day, right, and that's
That
what I
was my
knew you were
point.
going. At the end of the day, I have to go back to the Bible for myself. We all have to meet the judgment for ourselves. And so what I was saying was, that has to be something within you that you have to talk with the Holy Spirit about. It is not an issue for me. My ears are not pierced. I don't wear jewelry. That's not my thing. But it's something that I prayed about, and I know that I can't do. Whether you can do it or not, it's like with anything. We have to
But
pray and ask God for
that's why,
understanding.
yes, and that's why I brought up the church hat
Yes,
and the brooches, because I remember when brooches were very popular, and it was basically like who had the shiniest brooch.
or the
Now,
biggest brooch.
right, and
Right.
now they don't, do that too much now. But like, we can't always make it just about jewelry, especially in the church when it comes to being modest about it or not, because everything, if you look at it, it's several things in the church. It's several things in the church that are done
I'm so
for
sorry,
attention.
but Ed Clark just sent me a picture of a woman's hat. And that hat has to be, I'm not even going to show it because I don't want the person to, but that hat has to be all the
You can't
way
see this
out.
other hand.
Okay, that's how far. You can't even see. That hat is like this. It is absolutely ridiculous. But it is what, everybody's personality is different. Everybody has a different reason why they do things. But in these last, because I'm getting down to our last few minutes, in these closing, I want to transition over to decorum, as far as how you speak in the church, or even when you're out in public, because that has a lot to do with whether you're a child of God. A lot of people, there was a question that came up this week on one of the talk shows, and this person was saying, people who label themselves Christian, the Christians are always talking about this and that. He said, but they are not. But when you hear them in the street, they're the first ones out there
cussing.
cursing and acting a fool. So I want to know your opinion on that, because at the end of the day, we have to hold up the banner, correct? We have to hold up the banner wherever we are. And there's certain things we're all working on something. Okay. Me, I'm working on patience because, I have to put myself out there. I'm working on patience because sometimes I could go and be with little kids and they are so honest and they're so pure with what they're saying. And I love it. But then I get with an adult and I already know that they're blowing smoke and they are not who they appear to be. And so it bothers me. So my question in this transition, what do you feel decorum of speech should be, whether you're in, especially when you're in the church, but when you're outside the church, because people are watching when you say that you're a Christian. So I'm gonna start with you, Corinne. Oh, yeah, she thought she was gonna get by. I'm gonna start with you. Do you represent it?
Do I represent it?
Christianity.
I believe I do. Especially at work. About a week ago, I was very much tested by an individual, and I had to remain calm and show face. And in me doing that, my supervisor defended me. So for me, it meant a lot, and not breaking character, because that's just who I am. I don't believe in letting people I don't believe in letting people getting me out of character anymore, because for me, I feel like my temper will keep me out of heaven. So I have to work on that. That's something that I've been working on in my facial expressions, because everybody who knows me knows that I struggle with my facial expressions. So that's something that I've been working on. And every day I just try to make sure that I'm speaking to someone how I would want to be treated. And so for me, I would say I have been working on being a better Christian outside the church.
All right, Pam. Pam Cerise, same question.
I I believe that, like you said, we have to be mindful of what we say outside of the church, because let's be honest, there are those of us who, when we are in the setting of the church building and sometimes the churchyard, not necessarily, we behave and we speak a certain way. Then we get to work and we speak like, and people will not know that we are worshipers, or we believe in God, or we're supposed to be Christian. And then sometimes conversations come up that we engage in, that if we want to be examples of a Christ-like body, we have to be mindful of what we say, and what conversations we get involved in, or initiate, or even prolong, especially when you know that it is, we already know that gossip is not good, but then there are other conversations that come up that we really should not be engaging in. Yeah, that's that song that we would sing, watch your mouth, watch your ears, watch your eyes, be careful, little. Yeah, same thing. Be careful your tongue, what you speak. Thank you for that question, sis.
Well, next I'm going to go to Michael.
Well, I know for me, I'm just mindful of my surroundings, and particularly now I'm in my 50s. I'm very mindful where I'm at. I was just told last week, my own dear mother laughed at me, and I said, "What you laughing at?" She said, "Well, is it you?" I said, "What about me?" She's like, "You don't let nothing bother you." I said, "No, I can't." I said, "I got high blood pressure. I can't let my high blood pressure go up." I said, "So whatever." I said, and we just happened talking about a couple of situations. I said, "So whatever people want to do, I just let them do it. Just don't involve me, because I gotta watch my pressure. I ain't dying for nobody." Okay, so I said, I maintain my pressure. If you want to jump off a building, I said, say your prayers and jump. I said, I have no problem. I said, I can't worry about that. I said, you got awareness of your own faculties. You know what you're supposed to do. You're an adult. You're a grown person. You're mature. So do you, because I'm gonna do me. So I said, I can't bother with that. I can't take on that responsibility. It's not my responsibility. I'll let the Lord. and the Holy Spirit, and let them deal with it, because that's what they're entitled to do. So right now, I've been learning. I've been successful thus far. My patience going up. It's just my only thing I'm working on how long I can maintain that level of keep hearing, keep hearing, keep hearing. Because when I keep hearing too much, I'm like, okay, you need to shut up. Okay, so so and when that ceiling, I'm walking. So I'm just love to just keep my temperament up, my temperance up, and we going from there. Amen.
All right, let's go to Mrs. Linden.
Amen.
Corinne, I am with you on is a daily battle of trying to be good about the facial expression, because usually if my mouth don't say it, my face has shown that you would say something crazy. So I'm learning and trying to get better with that. And it's a practice, it just doesn't hit you young people, it hit us, because some of us just speak our mind, and we have to learn that we can't always speak our mind.
Correct.
And I probably still will, and it probably will keep me out of heaven, because I said something to somebody and offended somebody. But it's a daily fight to be able to not tell somebody off. So in a sense of, I have to trust and pray a little bit harder. Patience I do not have, but I'm trying to get there. Pray for a sister.
Well, let me say, I know that I can be very expressive, and so it's something that I have really tried to work on, because I had this really bad mentality when I was especially younger, where you said what you said, you will get what you get. And it didn't matter. If you were at church, you got it at church. If you were in the street, you got it. And I had to do better, because God expects better. And when you know how they say you're supposed to have common sense? Well, common sense is not common. I found that out. The older I've gotten, the more I found that common sense isn't common. But what I've worked on is all I can do is work on me. I can only do me. So it's not up to other people to regulate me. It's up to me to regulate me. And so I do that because of the love of Christ constraineth me. And so maybe the comments that I would have made when I was younger and didn't have the wisdom that I have now, I can turn a softer cheek and just kind of smile at them. Because my husband said something to me that was profound. He said, Sonia, you don't always have to say what you think. He said you could sometimes just look at people and smile, and just that smile will let them know I could have had you, but I chose to let it go. And that's what I choose. I choose to have peace. I choose to let it go. And for those who are not in my circle, it's not that deep. Now, I'm going to show right quick this picture. We tried to block out everything, but the humongous flower in there, and then we're going to go to Steve, and then Latoya, you're going to round it out. I don't know if you can see how big that hat is and how it comes all the way out, but that is the thing. And then the huge corsage. We just have to be modest in all things. It's not just about, it's what attention, and the attention that you're getting may not necessarily be positive. Go ahead, Steve, because we are out of time.
Say it like this. I think I'm still unmuted.
No, we hear you.
Oh, okay. This thing popped up. As a coach, I am there preparing young minds. I am my brother's keeper as a coach. There's certain things as a coach you can't even do in front of your students or your players. If you get back to the county, you could lose your job. So I am shaping young minds. How do I know that? 15 years later, I started out first going to high school graduations. The next thing I was going to was college graduations.
All right.
The next thing I was going to were weddings, and now baby showers, and now I am a grandfather, or this is my godfather, or whatever, of these babies. Young men who thought so much of me and how I treated them, how I spoke to them, how I acted around them, that I can tell you some of these same young men, I went on one of their pages the other day, is now offering the young people his age that they need to get into the word and study the Bible. So I became the first Jesus that they saw. If I'm in Jesus and Jesus is in me, I was the first Jesus that they saw. So I am my brother's keeper. That's the second half of the commandments. When they say which one of these are the greatest, Jesus said, love God with all your heart and love your brother as yourself. That love thing is something else. So when I speak, when I talk, I have to be mindful, whether I'm at church, whether I'm at school, whether I'm driving down the highway and somebody get too close to my rear end, I hated it, or they cut me off, I still gotta be mindful, because that could be the pastor wife, and she look over at me, I've been cussed out. So we have to be mindful because of Jesus and the way he treated people. And even his disciples got a little uppity, and they were fishermen. They came from all kind of situations that were not like the priests, the high priests or lawyers. And they told Jesus, why are you talking to them? Why are you talking to that over there? They ain't even a Jew. And Jesus had to remind them, I'm a God of all people. So if we're reflecting Christ, which we ought to be reflecting him, we know you get mad. We know we slip. We know we make mistakes. We got that. But like I told my mom, and I'm going to say this, even if she's watching, I had to let her know the other day, I know she's 92, and I know she's in pain. And I know what pain can do to you because I had 3 car accidents. But I said to her, Mom, if you put that on your mind all the time, that's all you're going to talk about. Remember the God that you taught us about. Start praising him for not having as much pain. So if we talk to people in a certain way and we say we're Christians, where's the light? Where's the love? What kind of examples are we being to others who may follow us or may be following us, or we may be shaping their lives? You can have influence on people. So we got to be very careful as Christians to that. If we claim it, we gotta live it. We gotta own it. Does that make sense? If we claim it, we gotta own it. I'm done.
And last but not least, Latoya. We can't hear you.
I don't know why y'all save me for last, because I struggle with my mouth. So I'm just gonna go ahead and put that out there. It's a work in
We all
progress,
struggle.
and yeah, but we all struggle. Okay, I'm gonna put it
Okay,
that
leave
way.
it there.
And we is I don't know why you put me last, because I don't have a profound word like Steve where it's, the entering, adding a Bible verse and putting on 2 Timothy 2:22. I don't have that. I'm not there yet. Maybe one day, Elder King, I get there, but I'm not there yet. But I do know that, it is a daily struggle, and it is hard to it's hard to try to make that change if you really don't want to make the change. And it's hard to, like Steve said, in traffic, I can go the whole day and be just fine, and I will get in that car, crank up, and it just seemed like the people say, hey, she's on the road now, let's go ahead and let's see where we can take her. So it's a daily struggle. I have to be cognizant of you have little ears listening. Just an example, I used to fuss out the window when Brooklyn was a baby. Brooklyn started talking, she used to fuss out the window too, out the car. And I used to be like, Lord, let me lock these windows over here. So, it does show and it does reflect in every aspect of your life. And you want to, if you tell somebody that you are a certain type of person and you are a Christian, or even if you're not a Christian, you're just a good, genuine person, You want people to be able to see that goodness in you in every aspect, not just you telling them. So your actions most definitely have to follow in behind your words when it comes to, as they say, actions do speak louder than words. So with that being said, it's a struggle and it does not happen overnight. My
No,
facial expressions, I've tried. I've gotten a little better. I've gotten so much better with my facial expressions, but it's my mouth, I admit. So y'all just put me right now in the middle of the prayer list, and just go ahead, keep me in prayer because of the fact that I try to have the same, when I go to church, when I go home, that same mouth. But sometimes it's a struggle to maintain that. But yeah. Hmm.
all right. Well, I appreciate everyone's thoughts, everybody's opinion. I should have made the disclaimer at the beginning. This is not any reflection on the DOZ SDA Church. It's just us poor people that are here on this earth still struggling. And as we close out, I'd like to say, God, He is the light of the world. Whoever follows me will never walk in darkness, but will have the light of life. And so we're all struggling to do that. I thank you all for joining us. Thank you. Have a great week. And I pray that God will be in everything that you do.
Sonia, just wanted to say to all your church family and friends,
Mhm.
everyone that helped pray for me when my mom passed, I truly appreciate that. Thank you
Oh,
so much for remembering me in
We
my
love
time.
you.
Thank
yes, we
you.
love you. And we thank you. I just want to say thank you to all the panelists. Thank you, Pam, for producing us today. And everybody keep a song in your heart. And remember, when we whatever we do, we're always on God's errands. Have a great evening. Bye bye.